Well, welcome back, boys and girls. On today's video, I am going to show you my ultimate hack for gardening. See, I have my garden plowed. This is the first year that I'll be gardening in this new farm that we bought. So I've been pulling out all the rocks, and the soil isn't that great, and it shouldn't be, at least not up to gardening standards. First, my goats have a very predictable pattern. And they come down here and then they walk their way up and walk right out the gate, and my electric fence is off. So we're gonna go chase them to the other side of the field before I get started into this. Oh, Beans knows the routine too. He's standing there waiting for me at the gate. Yep, they're working their way right up here. Predictable little things, aren't they? Take a ride out, see if we have any more babies. Oh, that little light-headed nanny right there, her bag just filled out over the last couple of days, so she should be dropping her baby anytime soon. Where's that darker red one? Had one. I'll show you a little trick if you can't find the babies. Watch that darker red one right in the middle. Nah. There, she's calling for it. It's up there somewhere. Make sure a hawk didn't get it, or that there's an owl around here too. I want to make sure she's just laying down and not. Oh yeah, she looks good. She looks good. Just had her yesterday, little girl. I'll put her back. The microphone won't pick this up, but the mama's yelling at me to put her back. I'm being yelled at by mama. I put her by that tree because she was awful close to that fence. And I'm gonna go turn the fence back on. I'm done. Where Beans went. Beans, come on. Come on, slowpoke. Look at you taking your sweet old time. It was back in the mid-90s when I was in graduate school. I sold vegetables to make a living. And I wish I could remember the old man's name, but he come over and just driving by and just stopped to chat. He's the one that told me about this. And for years and years, I used this hack and had wonderful, wonderful gardens throughout the year. But first, my goats have a very predictable pattern, and they come down here and then they walk their way up and walk right out the gate, and my electric fence is off. So we're gonna go chase them to the other side of the field before I get started into this. This gardening hack is like a natural miracle grow. And now everybody who has a garden knows the benefits of compost. It's a great and wonderful thing. Compost can take 3 to 6, 9 months, maybe a year. And I actually just moved my compost from right there and moved it out there. In the winter time, I keep it up close to the house so I don't get lazy and not compost anything. And then in the summer, when I'm outside all the time, I move it a little bit further away from the house. But that compost out there, I'll use in next summer's garden. But what about this summer? And I wanted to get some vegetables in, and actually, a quick little story here. I was planning on going back to selling vegetables this year, but got some bad news. I went to the doctor and I'm lucky enough to need a hip replacement. So I decided to just take this year and start with the infrastructure of gardening. That way next year I'll have a little bit better soil. It'll have a little bit more fertility in it, and a lot of it will come from that compost there. I have the rabbits. I keep a couple of chickens up close just to eat the rotten vegetables. There's a little bit of manure that I pour right into here. And this is the little trick that you can use out by your garden. Now, when I was selling vegetables full time, I had 2 500-gallon watering troughs and just put all of my grass clippings, weeds, a good variety of stuff, just like compost, you can put in here, and all the nutrients will be pulled out in the water. Look at that water. So you don't need a whole lot of this. You don't want to water your garden off of this, but what you can do is I keep a little scooper out here, and I usually apply this if my vegetables are looking good. I really don't use it, but right when I plant it, I will sprinkle a little bit on there. When they start to put on the vegetables, I will sprinkle a little bit on there. And then just in those dry summer months, when it's hot, you don't get much rain, and your garden is looking rough, that's when I use a lot of this. Now, what else I do right before I plant, I just soak my plants in there, let them soak up those nutrients. Now you can I do put a little bit of chicken manure in here, but it's so high in nitrogen. But here is the secret sauce for this. And if you've watched my other videos, you know I keep rabbits, and most of it is just for their wonderful manure. I do like eating them also, but you can put really as much rabbit manure as you want. Sorry, I knocked my phone over. You can really add as much rabbit manure as you want to this little secret recipe. And man, it just makes your vegetables in those dry summer months, gives them the exact nutrients that they need. And it doesn't have all the benefits of compost because it doesn't really improve the soil. It certainly doesn't hurt it, but it is just a wonderful slop that you can use to give your vegetables that extra oomph that they need. And down in the bottom, there's twigs that size sitting in there. Anything you can compost, you can put right in here, and it is good. I set this out. You know, I don't even know how much this is, maybe 250 gallons, maybe, I'm not sure. But you can get some 500-gallon tanks. And like if you're in the Nashville area like I am in Zone 7, set it out in February. Let it fill up with rainwater. That's obviously the best. And as you add your carbon material to it, the water will just overflow, and that's fine. In the summertime, if you get into a drought, just take your tap water, put it in a tub, let it sit outside for a week, get all the chlorine and all that junk out of there, and then dump it right into this stuff. And you will probably have the best garden that you've ever had using this method. So, like I said, you don't water with this, but in the summertime, I would say I probably add it once a week and not a drenching like you do with water. And then like this stuff will break down as the summer goes on. I just started adding this stuff. But if you get too much carbon material in there, just take it out and put it around your plants. Use it as a mulch to keep the moisture down into the plants. And we got some tomatoes here. These are Cherokee purples. Everybody loves purple tomatoes. I got my marigolds here. Of course, I assume most people know that marigolds is a good companion plant to tomatoes. On the outside of the row where I put the tomato plants, I always plant some marigolds. So look at all that goodness. And as that manure breaks down, that'll help break down some of the carbon material that's in there. That grass in just a couple of weeks, that'll all be broken down. And then again, if you find out you have too much carbon material, you can just scoop it out, put it around your plants as needed, or just take it out to the compost bin, set it in there, and kind of start over. I usually keep 2 of these going, kind of brewing. I try to use the older stuff first that's already had a chance to break down a little bit, but you don't have to do it that way. Like you seen me, I just added this manure right now, and I plan on planting a garden probably tomorrow. So there's your gardening hack for the day. But we're supposed to get rain tomorrow, so I'm hoping I can get my garden in before the rain comes. And that other rooster will answer him. Did you hear it? So hopefully I'll be able to get the garden planted tomorrow. Since I'm not gonna sell any this year, I'm just going to use for trellis whatever I can find around here. I've got some posts out in the garage. They're treated, so I'm gonna dig a hole on the outside of the garden. I've got all those trees out there, and that's just gonna have to do for this year. I'm actually kind of excited to try different ways of trellising plants I haven't really done before. The farm that I came from, we didn't really have the amount of trees that I have here. So I used more conventional trellis. So I'm kind of excited to get out here, get some of these trees and use those for trellis, especially to see what we can come up with for the cucumbers. I know how I'm going to do the tomatoes, so be sure to watch that. Cucumbers, haven't quite figured it out yet, but I have a couple of ideas. We're going to see how that goes. But today, I wanted to show you the homemade brew for giving vegetable plants a little shot, steroid shot. Some people might even call it a miracle grow to get your plants going. So if you want to see what this garden ends up looking like with all natural trellis made from things right here, where I'm not going to spend any money on the trellis other than some garden string. Other than that, we're just going to get creative and see what kind of garden we can come up with. If you want to see how that looks, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And as always, thanks for watching.